The second piece of advice and the insight that I've learned is don't wait to start creating projects. Don't wait, there's no reason to. Right out of the gate, you can start building things that you're excited about, that interest you, and that's the best way to learn. Imagine if you were trying to learn basketball. You could sit there and you could do a bunch of math about like the velocity of your throw and the angle and all these things. You could watch other great basketballers play. You could read about the theory of basketball. But until you actually step on the court and bounce that ball and start shooting hoops and start putting in the hard work of doing those layups and free throws, you're not going to get any better. Nothing's going to happen. But if you start and actually get your hands dirty and actually start doing things, that's where you can start to see growth, and that's where you can start to see progress. And you get excited because you've seen, okay, even if it's small and it's kind of silly at first, it's something that I did, and I know that I'm getting closer. I can see my progress. And that's one of the biggest things. I wish I would have started on day one building and shipping things and just going. Another way to think about it is one of the best ways to learn is to create things and to make things. But along the way, inevitably, you're also going to break a lot of things. So don't be afraid of breaking things. Pick projects that are, not live, that you can break, that you can tinker on, and just embrace the process and just embrace and just have fun with it. Some of the best developers I know started off just doing silly projects. And in fact, a lot of them still do silly side projects. One of my favorite ones I heard about, this brilliant developer I know named Tommy, while he was in college, figured out, I'm really just annoyed that my roommate keeps leaving the sink full of dishes, So he hooked up an Arduino to measure the level of the stack of dishes and built a server that would ping him and shoot him a text message when the dishes got too high and would tell his roommate, hey, go clean up the dishes. And he coded that. Was a little silly, yeah, but he talked about that in all his interviews. It helped him get jobs, and it was also just fun for him to work on. And so if you can find a project like that, even if it's small, even if it's silly, even if it's just like a chatbot that makes fart noises or a fake e-commerce site that sells socks for dogs, whatever you can do that'll get you sort of off the couch, so to speak, or on the couch maybe if you're coding there. If you can just start doing that right away, you're going to be better off for it. When you're figuring out what project to work on, I found there's kind of 3 stages that you go through. Imitation, tweaking and remixing, and then building your own thing. Here's what I mean by that. When you're starting off building a project, if you're using a new technology, using a new thing, you usually kind of don't know where to start. But you're not alone. I love reading about Benjamin Franklin when he was getting started as a writer. He would not know where to start with his writing or anything like that. So what he would do is he would find writers that he wanted to emulate, he wanted to be like, and he would take their writing and he would imitate it, try and imitate their style, write the same kind of sentences they did, tell the same kind of stories they did, use the same kind of wit that they did. And he would try and then, after he could imitate it and kind of do it pretty well, he would start to improve on it, make little tweaks here, redo this paragraph, redo this sentence, use some different vocabulary over here. And eventually what he was able to do is become a very strong, persuasive, and influential writer himself, even though he just started out by imitating at first. You can do the same thing in your code too. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. One of the best ways to learn, an interactive app can be, okay, just build your own Twitter. Start by imitating. So for example, if I want to learn how to do an e-commerce site, I don't have to come up with my own thing from scratch and redo everything. I can start by just imitating someone else's site to get ideas and to spark something. So maybe I could go to Blue Bottle Coffee's site and look at how they laid out their homepage, look at how they lay out their item listing, and try and recreate that from scratch myself. And that'll teach me how to solve problems and run into things, and it'll take care of some of the extra work that doesn't really matter, like how things should be styled, because I can borrow from their site design. From there, I can start remixing and say, okay, we're not doing coffee, we're just doing cheese. It's just going to be Blue Bottle Cheese Edition. And we can start doing that, and we can start saying, oh, well, actually, I don't want to do this type of layout. I want to do a whole different type of search layout. And actually, I want to do a chatbot down here that helps you buy things using that. And then that may spark an idea down there of, okay, what if we took the e-commerce thing away and used all the things I learned on creating a product inventory and things like that, but only had a Facebook Messenger bot, and that's how people would buy their cheese subscription, and we could build that. And so you can kind of see how you can go from copying someone else's work to remixing and tweaking it yourself to creating an entirely new idea by just following that process of imitating, remixing, and then building and launching your own thing. So for marketers, one of the easiest side projects that I started on when I was getting started was just building my own landing page from scratch. A landing page, if you don't know, is just a simple one page of your website that convinces you to sign up to an offer with your email. So it tells you what's going on, uses some slick graphics, some testimonials, and then has a form to connect to you and sign you up for a mailing list, whether that's on MailChimp or somewhere else. And so it gets you familiar with a little bit of API stuff, sending forms to MailChimp. You can practice some design things that might be a little bit out there you might want to try or you've never done before using HTML and CSS. And you can actually launch it using something like GitHub Pages for free and show it to your friends and get feedback and put that in your portfolio. So it's a great thing to just get started on.